All right. So the Shedeur Sanders situation. On January 19th, on my show, I created a segment about Shedeur Sanders, and I predicted that he was, at best, a 4th or 5th round flyer in the NFL draft, and that any team that would draft him would do it at their own peril. I was basing that on multiple things. Number one, in the video, I shared from a football perspective, I do not believe he is as good as people made him out to be, as he himself made him out to be, his dad, his hype machine, the media. He is a product of a 24-hour media cycle and a family that knows how to build a brand. And they built his brand for the world to think and see that he would be the number 1 overall pick. This is from Deion Sanders' playbook, and he taught his son very well in that regard. What has happened is I think the whole world has missed this. And I have been on nonstop. It's almost too much that I've been on in the last 48 hours on X, on Facebook, following every single possible trending topic that you can imagine as it relates to Shedeur Sanders, to find out if anyone saw what I saw basically during the season, during his not even just this past year, the year before, and watching the tool set that he had and watching the behavioral traits that he had, and then taking the puzzle and just simply putting all the pieces together. And it's like you watch Joel Klatt and you watch Mel Kiper and you watch Ryan Clark and you watch all these people be totally like baffled as to why this is happening. So from a football perspective, teams will put up with a lot of stuff. We know that. Folks have checkered backgrounds. They've done things that they regret. Laramie Tunzel, just off the top of my head, if you remember 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, had a gas mask on with smoke underneath. I mean, there are some things that NFL teams will put up with. But you will not find an NFL team that will take a quarterback out of college and put him at the quarterback position in the NFL and hand over a $5 to $10 billion, the keys to a $5 to $10 billion franchise, and allow this ridiculous behavior to go on. It is the most important position in all of sports. And I could make a legitimate argue based on the complexities of it, the responsibility of it, that it's one of the most important jobs in the world. And there are only 32 of them. And of the 32, there are only about 15 to 17 that excel at a high level, and 5 to 8, maybe 5 to 10 that are truly, truly elite. And from 15 or 17 down to 32, you see a lot of churning of trying out backups. And of course, there's injuries and free agents and benchings and backup quarterback. Okay. So there is basically, this is a CEO of a football team. So let me get this straight. Let's put football aside now. All right. He's limited. He is severely lacking the skills to translate to the NFL that has been recognized by people all over, scouts, analysts, all over the place. Secondarily, let's talk about this. So if you make a decision to hire or draft, Shedeur Sanders, you are accepting every single thing that comes with him. Here's one thing that just jumps off the charts, and no one's really talking about this, and I don't know why. His entire football career, he has been coached by his father. I like Deion Sanders. He was a phenomenal talent, a world-class Hall of Famer at the cornerback position, someplace where you're not in charge of 11. You're one of 11. His son was groomed to be a quarterback in high school, then at Jackson State, then at Colorado, all under the leadership and direction of his father, who is a hype machine. And he basically was molded in exactly what his father is. His father's been a commentator in the NFL. Obviously, he's a Hall of Famer, as I said. He's brash, he's bold, he's flamboyant. He's all those things. He's a walking reality TV show. He's a walking commercial, from Aflac to when he spent all the years on television. His son is walking in the same ilk, down the same path. And guess what? Nothing wrong with that. There's nothing criminal about that. Quarterback in the NFL is a 24/7, 365 a year job. When you get hired for a company, any company, there are stipulations a lot of times that you have to sign that there can be no conflicting interests. And the reason that is because obviously said employer wants 100% of your attention. They don't want you having a part two, 1, 2, 3, 4 part-time jobs if this is a high level position. They want 100% of you. No NFL team that drafts Shedeur Sanders is going to get 100% of Shedeur Sanders. And even if you did, the talent is suspect at best. So you're making a decision to take on his suspect talent and then all of the circus show that comes with him. He wants to be a rapper. He wants to be a brand builder. He wants to be a commercial guy. He decides not to go to the draft. They build a homemade set, and in the homemade set, and it says legendary. He believes he's legendary. And folks, let me make this clear, because so many people out there are saying this to all sorts of people, not just me, that this is race and they're doing him wrong and all this type of stuff. The Sanders family, Deion, the entire family, and Shedeur brought this on themselves. If you watch his video at the combine, he basically spent 45 seconds telling people with his actions and his words why you should not draft him. On January 19th, I said he was a clip holder at best. I'm going to make another prediction here in a moment, and it might just, it's a two-part prediction, and it actually might come true. But first, let's go back to after draft night, first round draft night. He gets up on stage, and he's rapping, and he's flashing his gold chains, and he's in front of an ice sculpture, and he's all this stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, you have got to be kidding me. You just didn't get drafted in round 1. You are, and no one's saying that you should go bang your head against the wall, but for crying out loud, act like you care. You're sending messages to everybody that it doesn't really matter to you and something else matters to you more. And you're just going to be who you are. Well, when somebody pays you 60, 40, 20 million, whatever it is in a number one overall contract today, you're paying somebody to buy into your philosophy and in what you're doing. Some humility, being humble, a level of gratitude, all of that is required. It goes way beyond just your skill set. Mel Kiper, like this is not about just an evaluation board in terms of your measurables and your metrics and your arm strength and your ability to throw on any platform. You need the full package to lead an NFL franchise. This is not rocket science, and it's not race. Jalen Milroe just got picked last night again before him. People wanted to say the Raiders, and oh my God, Tom Brady mentored him. Yeah, I don't know the whole situation, but Tom Brady probably mentored him to give the kid a chance and get him to get out of his own damn way. You think that Tom Brady's going to sign off us on that circus show? Deion Sanders was on recently, not long ago, after a visit by Shedeur with a team about his potential draft. He came back, he told his dad, Deion called the person. What NFL franchise wants to deal with this? This kid is basically at an uncoachable level. How do you coach somebody or teach somebody that thinks they all already know everything that there is to know? And they've only known one way the entire playing career for their father. This is not anything complicated. And for some unknown reason, everyone's baffled by this. Like literally the whole world seems to be, or at least 95% seem to be baffled by this. And this is confusing. And he must have done something wrong. Yeah, he did. But somebody's like, all right, is there a hidden criminal act or something? No, it's been in front of everybody to see. It's on tape in terms of his skill set and his skill level, and it's all on tape in terms of his character as it relates to running a $5 to $10 billion franchise. Take a look at this, folks. I mean, this is as of 2022. This is outdated. All right, so it's more than this. There is not one team on this sheet of 32 that is valued at less than $3 billion. $3 billion. How could anyone entrust their franchise to a quarterback that acts in such a way? Shall we go back to Johnny Manziel? How about Baker Mayfield 1.0? How about what's his name? Zach Wilson and the all the stuff that he came out with and the women and all that type of stuff. Again, suspect talent at best, wrong, arrogant attitude. You're out there to lead not just 11, yourself and 10 other on the offensive side of the ball. You're leading an entire team. You're leading an entire franchise. You're leading an entire fan base. You're leading an entire city. You are leading a brand, a shield. It's not the Deion Sanders shield. It's not the Shedeur Sanders shield. Hello? I'm fired up about this. This blows my mind. So for those of you who don't know, I coached for about 9 years at the smaller levels. Middle school, high school, AAU, and rec ball. Okay? Played all the way through grade school, middle school, high school. Had a passion to coach. Loved teaching. Loved helping a young man get from where they are to where they would like to be, where they can be, getting them to reach their most full potential and getting them set up for the next level. It's what I ate, drank, and slept. It's what I lived. I ran very successful camps. Tim McCormick, former first-round NBA pick, out to speak at my camp, the largest independent camp in the state of Michigan that has never been not sponsored by a high school or any school. So I gave it all that I had. What drove me away after 8 or 9 years? There's a few things, but one of the very top things is attitude. It is what has happened in culture and in society. It is the me now attitude. It is the I am bigger than the team. It is the look at me. It is the if you don't have me. I share videos all week, every week at what's happening to sports on every single level and what the people like LeBron James and other people are doing to it. It has been ruining sports. Viewership is down for reasons. People are fed up. So can you blame any one of these 32 teams for not putting Shedeur Sanders in charge of your franchise and the circus that comes from it, with it? You want to go have a reality show? You want to go sell brands? You want to go build a brand? You want to go be a rapper? Have at it, man. It ain't a crime. Go do it. But it's a conflict of interest at the quarterback position. Amon-Ra St. Brown from the Lions has his own podcast show. Okay. He doesn't act that way. He doesn't play that way. He doesn't conduct himself that way. But he has other interests, but they don't interfere. They don't conflict. They aren't bigger than the team. They aren't bigger than the league. They aren't bigger than the Ford family or any of his fellow colleagues and teammates. It's an extension of him where he has a platform to voice his opinion. Nothing wrong with that. But that's not Shedeur Sanders. It's not Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders walked by a Zoom call. I'm not exactly sure when it was, but I think it's more than a month ago. And he walks by his son and he says, that's why they're hating on all of us. Nobody wants to hear it, Deion. Nobody wants to hear about hating on your son. No one's hating on your son. No one's doing anything to your son. No one's doing anything to the Sanders. You, Deion, you, Shedeur, you did this to your damn self. You basically made this situation toxic. You pushed everybody away. You gave everybody a reason to look 5 times, 10 times, 20 times, even if they thought about it. Think about this. After round 1 was over, if anybody was thinking about it on day 2, the actions of your son went ahead and gave them validity to what their decision was to not take him. So if you wanted to ensure to keep him sliding, you sure did a hell of a job with it. And again, if you want to go live that life, go live that life. You want to go be the male version of the Kardashians? Good. You guys already got a head start. The Sanders. I'm sure the show will do very, very well. But it does not translate to your son, Shedeur Sanders, being a starting quarterback of one of 32 teams. And I'm telling you, here's the 2-part prediction I was talking about. There's one of 2 things that are going to happen now. And I predicted it on January 19th that he was no better than a clipboard holder. But being that this went past day 1 and then it went past day 2, what happened is a couple of things. Number 1, you might see him exit completely out of this and step away and take his talents. I'll give you a LeBron quote, and take his talents elsewhere. Because he's entered backup territory. I felt he was always a backup at best. I felt he was always a flyer, 4th round or 5th round or later at best. But because of what they are and what they do and how they act, and now the fact that this went past day 1 and past day 2, and now you are on, you're at a whole nother level, day 3 of the draft. You're basically backup. And any team that would decide to take him now, the firestorm will be so immense. It will be greater now than it was before the first pick on Thursday night. Think about that for a moment. You make a decision to draft him now at this point. It is accentuated times 100. The questions, the media, the circus show that will follow. If he starts as a backup, when is he going to be in? All of this type of stuff. The interviews with his father, all of it. His own actions. It's amplified 100-fold. I legitimately see 2 possibilities. 1, he steps out of the process altogether. He cannot go back to college. He's declared for the NFL draft. He has no longer has any eligibility to go back. I have a feeling he might step away completely and go on to other things. This is going to end very badly. It's already ended very badly. I don't see any possible outcome. This is not Tom Brady dropping to round 6. This is not Jordan Love dropping, Aaron Rodgers dropping, Brett Favre dropping. It's none of that. All of those players had ridiculous talent that translated and converted to the NFL, and they weren't their own reason for not being drafted, on top of the fact that he's not very good. If he was very, very, very good, they would probably find a place for him, despite all of the antics, because quarterbacks don't grow on trees, and franchises that are worth $3 billion and up need to fill the stands, and they need to win. Because it's win or you're done. It's win or you're fired. It's win or you have a pissed off fan base. So everybody wake up. Wake up. Seriously. I mean, this is madness. Absolute madness. This is not an NFL quarterback. It's not his number one priority. How much clearer does he have to make that to mainstream? He's made it clear to the NFL, and they've done a resounding thump back and saying, we're not accepting this. And then when we didn't draft you, you gave us more reason to not reconsider. Like if you get a no in a sale, let's say, and you want to go back to that potential client, you want to give them a reason to buy your product or buy your service or buy into you. The guy and his family continues to give people reason not to buy into him. It's like he's got a demagnetizer. Instead of magnetizing people to come to him and believe in him, he's giving them every reason to stay away. He's rolling dice at a crap table. He's rapping in front of an ice sculpture right next to a customized stage that he built to promote his name and his brand because he thought that the NFL was going to just come to him. Seriously, the NFL is not coming to you, my man. It's not. You're not even at a level of ability for them to even consider doing that. So I believe that this is a historical moment as it's scrolling on the screen down there. This is a historical moment in society. This is a historical moment for teaching young people. This is a historical moment for sports in general. And I said it on social last night, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Nico Imaliva from Tennessee and this whole NIL bullshit that's ruining sports. It's literally ruining sports. You are watching this every single day. You play for a team for 6 months, and then you leave and go someplace else, and then you play for 6 months, and you leave and go someplace else. If you did that in workforce America, and you have 6 months on your resume, and you go to someplace else and you have 6 months, what happens? It's about it's not about team. It's not about building something. It's not any of that. It's all about the money now. Bo Schembechler, 1985, he's in the pregame in the locker room, and he says, it was the last game of the year, and he says, today is the last day that you will play for each other. From here on forever, you're going to play for a contract. And boy, wasn't that a different day in the 80s. You had to earn the right to have a contract. You didn't get paid on potential. See the Michael Jordan video that I shared recently, where he talks about corporate America when it came to Magic and Jordan and Bird and Isaiah and those guys. They had to earn it. They had to show it. They weren't just given money on potential. And this guy doesn't even have potential to be a top flight NFL quarterback. And I'm going on way too damn long for this, but it's important to society. It's important to young kids. When I would be in the gym with kids, and I've been out of it since 2015, 10 years, they would emulate these people. They would emulate this behavior. And I already saw the AAU has been the NIL forever. It just was underneath the surface, and people didn't know about it. Hell, I coached AAU and had players coming from one game to play in my game and leaving my game and going to play in another game. And it was framed as getting working. So where exactly were the academics? Where exactly was the family life? And you're talking to somebody that was a gym rat, right? But I had structure. I had responsibilities. I had chores. I had obligations to my family before my father passed away. You're going from team to team to team. Who's your team? Who and what is it all about? That's why I think this is a big moment. That's why I think Dan Lanning from Oregon is the one who basically spoke up. People could call it rat. People are going to call it all this bullshit. But Dan Lanning spoke up, and he called Josh Heupel in Tennessee to tell them that Nico Imaliva was sniffing around for another deal, another NIL deal, when he already had a deal in place with Tennessee or was negotiating with Tennessee. And then they got rid of him. That, I believed, was a watershed moment. That was, again, a pushback. That was, again, hey, we're watching this. We're monitoring this. You don't get to just do whatever the hell it is you want and expect yourself to be able to collect $2 million, $4 million. And what ended up happening to the guy? He was told no, and no again. And now he's ended up with UCLA for, I think, a quarter of the money, maybe a little bit more than half the money. How'd that work out? There is something to be said about the way you conduct yourself, about the way you act. And by the way, there's all sorts of footage and all sorts of film of the way Shedeur Sanders acted on the sidelines, how he acted towards ball boys. You know, the NFL is there. And if they're not there, they have all the tape in the world to watch your behavior. How you conduct yourself on the field, how you conduct yourself off the field, there is a camera on you 24/7. Looking for those things. And if you don't like it, get the hell out and go have a reality TV show. But there's a way you must conduct yourself. And there's guys that make mistakes all the time. The quarterback position, if you decide to play that, it comes with extra scrutiny. It comes with the ability to have extra humility. And let's talk about one other guy, Baker Mayfield, when he came out. How'd that work out for him? It didn't work. Now he's 2.0, 3.0 version of Baker Mayfield. He got it, and somebody got to him. He says he found God, and good for him. Props to him. However he did it, he figured it out. He's become a leader, and an entire team franchise relies on him. And he goes to work for them with the right attitude and the right approach of team, of franchise. And what has happened? They're winning. They're not winning at all, but they're winning, and they're doing very well, and they're in the conversation. But Baker Mayfield 1.0, it didn't happen. Let's go back to guys like Ryan Leaf. Remember Ryan Leaf? Some of the greatest tools you will ever find. Some of the greatest film you will ever find. Guy could make every throw. Guy, rocket arm, height, some mobility, just prototypical, right? But he was missing all the other stuff. Look at a guy like Jeff George. This is going way back. Probably he's in the top 5 arm talent of all time. Had a lot of issues. Had, some good moments in the NFL, but never lived up to it. How about a guy like Jim McMahon? Jim McMahon, you want to go back to the 80s, the 85 Bears, Super Bowl, all of that. And he was basically a loose cannon, like to say a lot of things, like to do a lot of things. But he had a lot of guys on that team that were massive, massive leaders. Richard Dent, Mike Singletary, Gary Fensick, lots of guys there to help kind of keep that team from just Otis Wilson from disintegrating. It doesn't work. It does not work. Take a look at this. This is him after not being drafted in round 1. Does that look like somebody who just like it just is destroying him inside that he didn't get picked? And then he said in a mini press conference that tomorrow is our day. Tomorrow is our day, and we'll be blessed. He's got a legendary T-shirt on. It didn't come. And there's a great chance it doesn't come today. And if it does, he's a backup. And if my deepest of hunches come true, he steps away altogether. Either now or if he gets drafted somewhere in the process, steps away, because he's going to get frustrated. And he's going to want to speak up, and he's going to want to step out. And any team that drafts him is having a conversation with him before at this time. And it is already known by many. Yeah, they did it anonymously. I get it. You should put your name to it. Don't put your name to it. I get all that debate. But they said he's one of the worst interviews that they've ever had the arrogant, egotistical behavior came through. They don't want to deal with it. So he's really handcuffed. If he gets picked, back up. He's not going to stay silent. I don't think he has the wherewithal to be a team guy and sit back and take his medicine, like a Bryce Young as an example. How'd that feel for the number 1 overall pick to play half the season, and then 14-year veteran Andy Dalton gets put in front of you, and Bryce Young says, I'm going to support him. I'm going to do everything I got to do. I'm going to learn. There's lots of examples like that. You think this guy's that? He's not that. He's just not Bryce Young's mind. He's just not. And Bryce Young may never turn out to be anything spectacular, but he was the better for it. And he was humbled, and he took a step back, and he learned from Andy Dalton, who was a veteran. You think this guy's going to learn? The Raiders had a million chances to draft him, and they didn't draft him, and Tom Brady worked with him and counseled him. Why do you think Tom Brady, they need a quarterback in 4 years, 3 years? They took Geno Smith. They're paying him a lot of money. I get it. But Geno Smith isn't the 10-year answer, nor is this guy. And I think Tom Brady saw that personally. And I bet you Tom Brady's phone was blowing up. And people said, honestly, we won't expose you, but tell us, what do you see? And I think Tom Brady saw through it all. And I think word got out more than it had already been out. So I would expect this to continue to fall. And if it doesn't fall further and he does get picked, I think there's a super strong possibility that he steps away from football altogether and goes back to where I think his heart is really at. And again, that is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You want to go be a rapper? Go be a rapper. You want to go build brands? Go build brands. You want the Sanders reality TV show? You want to have Prime Junior show like his dad's show? Go ahead. You want to go coach on your dad's team? Go ahead. But you're not an NFL quarterback, and you never were. This is just proof to it all.